Awesome. Okay. Well, good morning. Happy Friday. Happy May 12th. Hope all of you had a wonderful time yesterday for Red Day. I know South Bay and Palos Verdes yesterday had a wonderful time at the Wilson Park. So just to go right into it, I want to introduce you to one of my favorite agents, Mr. Danny Paz. Danny Paz has been in the industry for how long, Danny?
I've been in the industry since April 2014.
April 2014. So you got a little bit of experience under your belt. So let's dive deep into.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's dive deep into the conversation. So can you provide us with a brief overview of your experience and knowledge in the real estate industry?
Yeah, so I got originally licensed in San Diego and was starting a family and knew had to get started pretty quick. I didn't know much about selling real estate, and while I was brand new, I got a very good recommendation to do the Bold program. Hope you guys have had the opportunity, and if you haven't done it yet, I can't recommend much anything better really to get you started. So it got me started, and I thought that's just how you do real estate. So I didn't start just making calls here and there. I started making 20 a day. So that was really really cool and the right foot to get started on. I decided I was going to do real estate in LA. That's where my sphere was. That's where my base was. That's where I'm from and where I wanted to live. And decided to join Keller Williams South Bay. And Simon took me on as my mentor. He wasn't a team leader at the time. And so as a mentor, he helped me out on my first 3 transactions. Obviously, as a broker, he helped me a lot more than that. But I got my first 3 transactions in the first 2 to 3 months of me being in real estate. And it was all the phone calls and open houses. I actually closed my first 2 transactions before I even moved to LA in LA. So, where there's a will, there's a way. Gas wasn't $5 a gallon, so maybe it was a little easier at the time. But that's how I started. I ended up moving to Keller Williams South Bay. Built my business. Basically, I believe in a 3-pronged approach. So I did my sphere, I did open houses, and I did door knocking in a farm. So there are many ways to skin a cat, as they say, but I would pick 3 ways, and that should always give you some lead generating to do. Beyond that, I at one point hired an admin and grew my team a little bit and followed great leadership of team leaders and brokers in our office, and not afraid to talk to people, not afraid to get out there. I remember we were at the office and we got an assignment to talk to 5 people out getting lunch or getting coffee while we were out. And I was at a smoothie bar in Torrance, and I said, "Hey everybody, just want you to know I'm a real estate agent, Keller Williams South Bay, and I have an assignment to meet you all, so I'm going to come and introduce myself." And I started going through the line, and there was a guy there. He said, "I'm new at the office. I can't believe you're actually doing the assignment." And I said, "Dude, you gotta do it. You just gotta do stuff. Like, don't think about it, just do it." So he was like shocked that people were actually doing it. So don't be shocked. You do it too. Whatever it is, just do stuff. I mean, there was one thing. So I became a mentor and a coach as well, and taught some Ignite classes, which hope you've had some opportunities to do it. And 5 minutes ago, I was a young new guy at the office, and somehow I became the veteran. So happens quick.
It definitely does, and something that resonates with me, Danny, is what you said. Don't be afraid, right? Just do it. And
Hmm.
that's an important element to what we do on a regular basis, right? Getting out of your comfort zone and ultimately just going out there and doing a little bit of chaos, right? Because that's where the opportunities come. That's where the activities will get you to where you want, those appointments, and eventually working with buyers and sellers.
I wanted to add one thing for just to complete the story, just so you guys know where I am. I've now, as of a year and a half ago, moved down to San Diego. So I'm in San Diego now. Also, I had a tiny stint with Compass and a tiny stint with EXP. Both those places just didn't fit. They didn't have the culture and the pillars of the Keller Williams business. It wasn't win-win or no deal. It wasn't come from contribution, and it wasn't come from abundance. It was about scarcity. It was about how to steal clients from other real estate teams and other people. And that wasn't my vibe. So I came back to Keller Williams.
Love it.
Welcome back.
Yes. Yeah.
Welcome home, as a lot of people have said. Yeah.
I love it. Awesome.
Oh my gosh, it's Rosie.
Yeah, we
Hey.
got some
I
fans here
wasn't
for you.
seeing. Okay, good to see you, Rosie.
Yeah.
I'm here because of you.
Rosie sat behind me, and there's Fred. Look at that.
Danny, how you doing? My buddy, I
Good,
missed my
good.
video, buddy. You
And-
didn't tell them that you were the one that used the green screen all the time.
Right.
You
So
know?
yeah, I guess that's another part of my business is that in terms of I wouldn't say I'm like the biggest expert of social media, but I also wasn't afraid to get myself out there and be a little different. So I made unintentionally funny videos at the beginning, and then they became kind of intentional with funny backgrounds, but I gave the straight information, which ended up being good. You never know who's watching, so you go to a party and all of a sudden people are like, hey, I saw your last video was great, and I'm like, you have no idea who's seeing these things. And I believe that has given me my last two buyers that I'm working with right now. One of which is people I knew that I haven't talked to in 10 years. So I wouldn't call them exactly friends, but they reached out to me because they know I do real estate. The purpose of that to me is just they get a flash of Danny does real estate, Danny does real estate, Danny does real estate. I really don't think many people are listening to the actual content, but that's the idea.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like you're trying to catch up with me and Simon here. You're trying to catch up with me and Simon.
I know I didn't have gray hair like just a couple years ago, but that's an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old. Yes, and thank you. It's good to be back here. Oh, I was gonna say Rosie was also instrumental. I had a seat before when there was a bunch of desks in the middle. I had Rosie behind me, I had Sue and Nick next to me, and I had Simon across from me. So don't be afraid to ask questions either.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. So, Danny, how do you stay updated on the current market trends and the changes that impact your buyers and your sellers right now?
I think the one of the things I do is my weekly video, which is a market update. So in preparation for that video every week, I see how many new listings there have been, how many homes have gone into escrow, how many homes have sold. I actually did the analysis, but my printer wasn't working for Torrent. And I recommend doing this for your micro neighborhoods and your micro regions. So, and even if you're going to show houses in an area, to do it for there. And what you'll see currently is we have a deficit. We're selling more houses than we're listing. I'm sure you guys have experienced that or are noticing that. I've seen a little uptick in recent week, but that's the trend currently, which is driving prices up. But also speak to your lender. As part of my market update was always to have an interest rate update, and always know, if possible, about new programs coming out, so you can be ahead of the curve and ahead of your competition in terms of options that people have. At an open house, when people are sometimes giving you the Heisman, putting their hand out as they walk in the door, when you can say something like, "Hey, have you heard of something like that?" It'll stop them in their tracks and yeah, basically add value. But basically, get your knowledge. You can get it straight from the MLS. You can get it from title companies. You can get it from a lot of different places. There are macroeconomic things to know about as well, but I believe they're less important to the actual clients that most of them that you talk to. Okay, like I did have a conversation last night about liquidity crisis, but he works in fintech and finance, but that's much more rare. The basics of your local economy are what's really important.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, good insight. So what sets you apart from other agents? And what's your approach?
So my approach, I had all these notes written down. My approach is basically to be more knowledgeable than other agents, help them understand what's going on, give them information. There's something called informational marketing, actually, but it's where you give information. Basically, you're just trying to help them. If you come from the perspective of when you can help others achieve what they want to achieve, you'll always get what you need. So come from contribution. And I would say my approach also is to get 3 layers deep. You ask someone why, hey, I want to buy a house. Why do you want to buy it? Or I want to buy a house in West Torrance. Why do you want to buy a house there? Because good schools. Okay, why is that important? Well, because my kids are starting school and whatever. Why is that important? Well, I didn't have a good education growing up and I want them to do better in life than I did. Whatever it is, get 3 layers deep and you get to the real heart of what's going on with them and really understand them. It's one thing to be an agent. I just show houses and I write offers, and maybe that was great during COVID when everything was selling and it was just bananas, and it was a lot easier for a lot of people in a way. Now you got to get deep with people and really understand their needs and their desires. And I would say that that's a big part of my approach. Treat everyone as if they're your mom or whatever in terms of really caring about them.
Love that. Yeah, absolutely. So this goes into my follow-up question, Danny. So how do you handle negotiations, especially right now, the way the market is?
Well, there's lots of negotiating in terms of, and it changes in the market that you're in. Would you say right now it's easier for buyers or harder for buyers? Raise your hands. Harder
Easier
for buyers?
for buyers.
Huh? Harder, right?
Yeah. No, for buyers, no, it's easier. They're competing with 2 or 3 or 4 offers. That's what I'm experiencing. I asked, I
Okay.
have like 3
But there's
experts.
there's still
But
multiple
limited
offers.
inventory though.
Right. So there's still multiple offers. And there's still selling for above list price in some ways. So I'm getting a terrible echo.
I think someone is, we mute it. Go ahead,
All right,
Danny.
let's see if this works better. So right? So a big part of negotiating is good relationships with other agents. Okay. Speak to the other agent, really get in touch with them about what's important to the client. Now, if it's just price, you need to negotiate as if it's a family member. Okay. You have to really care. You're trying to do your best for your client. But at the same time, there's a lot of agents that where I have to tell them, you're here to facilitate this transaction. Some agents try to get in the way of the transaction. It's our job to help our clients get what we want. It doesn't make sense sometimes to negotiate and then your clients don't get the house, which was really their primary objective. Okay. A lot of negotiating happens during the repair request and the inspection. What I always say to my clients is there's going to be stuff, these inspectors will write down every tiny thing that's going on with their house. That's their job. We need to talk on our repair request about things that are safety concerns, number one, or major expenses. If we focus on those and we can explain that to the seller, you will typically get a much better response as opposed to let's just list everything, because when they see that, they think you're being unreasonable, they throw it out. Focus on what's important, you're more likely to get it, is what I would say.
Yeah, good thoughts on that. So diving deep into, determining the best price strategy for properties that you list, right? What are some of the factors you use to consider and navigate that conversation with the sellers?
Well, what I do is I bring in, excuse me, I bring in all the comparable homes, right? All the comps, and I also bring in the what's it called, the one-line printout of the area. Okay, and what I do is I circle the days on market and the price and the sale price. And what they'll see often by you doing that, you highlighting that, is that the ones that were listed lower sold quicker for the highest price. So you let them see that, and they will understand, as opposed to you just saying, hey, let's list low, I promise it's going to sell fast and higher. Like, that doesn't make sense. But if you can show that, bring out, the ones that that reveal that, but you have to believe that too. You can't just be like, hey, I'm just trying to get them to list low. Like, you actually have to believe what you're saying, and you have to really, like we say, do the best you can for your clients. But that's what's always going to show in any market. The ones that were listed lower are going to sell faster, typically for more. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing this, but apparently there was an agent in LA that, when I was a newer agent, that actually listed his own house for $1 to prove this point, and obviously sold above market value in a very short time, because it doesn't matter where you list it in terms of below the price. The market will tell you what the value is, and you'll explain that to your clients as well. I don't decide value. It's part of the bold script, right? Listing presentation script. I don't determine value. The market determines value. Okay. If we listed lower, then our opportunity is also to be able to control the other aspects of the sale. Rosie's talking about 2, 3, 4 offers on a home. If you have that, first of all, you can select the one that has the best terms. You're explaining this to your client, right? And you get to also come back if they're asking for an unreasonable repair request and say, hey, we got a bunch of offers behind us that are not asking for that. Now, I don't know if you guys have been in the industry for very long, but obviously when there were, 30 offers on the house, then it was real fun. That was your listing. Also, it's I think, okay, that was pricing strategy. In terms of also negotiating, when I talk about having good relationships, I actually posted a video about this. I was following up with some past clients, and they were so excited about this article they saw, and they sent it to me. It was in the New York Times about people that lost out on the property that I helped them get. And it was and then that transaction, it wasn't just about higher price, or even, it was about creating a relationship with the agent. You got to talk to the other agent. I always feel so bad for people when I have a listing and their agent hasn't called me and they're just submitting an offer. I'm like, these poor people are never going to get a house in this competitive market. So don't be that person. Ask all the questions. If they don't want to divulge much information, that's fine, but at least you ask. And so I would say that's a big thing.
Yeah. Cool. Biggest
Actually, I want to say that, how I learned all this is our first listing appointment, Simon went with me. And this is when homes were not millions of dollars each. We went to a listing appointment in Carson, and it was a tiny little house. We thought the comp said maybe around 315, 320. And I almost gasped, because this is my first listing appointment, when Simon told them we should list it for 290. They gasped, and I kind of held my breath, but we ended up selling it for 325. That was my first experience with this whole list low thing, and I had never heard of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That was fun.
Still talk to them all the time. And you know what's cool? That was my first time it happened, but it's happened a bunch of times since, where you get closing gifts from the client, which is pretty cool. And it wasn't until closing that I told them I was living in San Diego.
I love that.
Yeah.
The biggest challenges or obstacles right now that you're seeing in the current real estate market, and how are you navigating those conversations?
Okay, so the biggest challenge, 100%, is more than the high interest rate, is that what that has caused, which is limited inventory. Okay, the limited inventory and the high interest has created a real bottleneck, especially in certain price points. After some analysis, I just want to say this. After some analysis, I'm seeing a lot more activity in the $1 to $2 million price range than in the under $700,000 price range. So that was an eye-opener to me, that I need to focus a little differently. Maybe there's more cash buyers, or they're bigger down payments in that price range, and more experienced buyers and sellers that have seen higher interest rates in the past and aren't as worried. That's just one thing. In any market, I remember we went to a training at the Blue Lagoon, or whatever the hell it's called in Redondo. What's it called? The Blue Oyster
Blue
called?
Water Grill.
Blue Water Grill. And we had someone come and talk about, even during the Great Recession in 2009, when everything fell out, he's like, oh, nothing was selling, right? And he said, no, we went from selling 5,200 homes to 4,000 homes. Like, there was still lots of homes selling, and not to freak out about that. But what I want to tell you is that there's people that always have to buy and sell. Okay, and you need to be in front of those people. The people that always have to buy and sell, we know, is death and probate sales, or trust sales. There's always people that are sadly getting divorced, like me, and having to sell. And there's a lot of relocating people. Relocation has been a big part of what I've been doing. Down here in San Diego, you have a lot of military, which everything down here is a shocker. Every complex is VA approved, and I think it has to be because there's so many VA buyers down here. But you need to be. So what I'm going to say is you need to be in touch with attorneys. Okay. In Torrance, I have a relationship with an estate attorney. He writes wills. He writes estates. I've sent him business, so he in turn has sent me business. The best thing you can do with some of these relationships is help them get business. If you drive business to them, they will drive business to you. So estate attorneys, lots of people have gotten divorced. Excuse me. Ask your friends for referrals to those attorneys for you to talk to them, okay? For you to get in touch with them. Now, hopefully you're not sending them business directly, but you can talk to them about lead generating and what's working for you. They're also trying to market and grow their business, okay? So those are two people. Relocation companies, there were people that focused on that, and I did a couple of those in the South Bay as well. Try to find those organizations that can refer business to you, okay? Also, my last 3 checks that I got last week were all people relocating, not for military, any other reason. They wanted to move to North Carolina. I don't know why North Carolina is such a hot spot. Kind of crazy to me. But some people go look before they sell. So relationships in other states with other agents also is key to get listings here. Yeah, not as many people moving here as moving out currently.
Love that. Awesome. So just to kind of wrap it up, Danny, what do you enjoy most about being a real estate professional, and what drives your passion for this awesome industry?
Well, it's definitely people. You know, I think I wanted to touch on one thing I learned from Simon, which is, look, there's going to be an issue with every single escrow, and the key is you're the calm one in the situation.
Right.
Okay, so that's something that I just wanted to make sure I pointed out. My passion is to be that constant for people. You're helping them in what's the biggest purchase or financial decision of their life. And I love being the person to help guide them through that. You have to really believe that you're with the best company and you're the best person to help them. If you do that, then you're going to be successful because you really believe that. So the way to believe that is to really understand the market. Go to contract classes, really understand it so you can explain it, okay? My passion is to help people, to have those opportunities to help them and develop those relationships. I had something written on my desk on a note when I was in Keller Williams South Bay that I tried to stick to, and the note said, get invited to the wedding. Okay, I had clients that were getting married, and I didn't mean that just for them, and I didn't mean literally to get invited to a wedding. The point was to develop relationships with every client that I would be invited to their wedding. Okay, and I think that that's the approach that I take, and that's the level of passion that I put into my business.
Love it. I love it. Awesome, Danny. Well, again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to chat with you and giving us some perspective of what you now see through the eyes of Danny Paz. So again,
yes, the young guy that yesterday was the young new guy.
That's right.
That's good to know.
Awesome. Yeah. I remember you didn't even have a beard, and now you have a beard.
I didn't have a gray hair.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
That's wisdom.
I had a pregnant wife, and now I've got an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old.
What a ride.
Crazy.
Well, Danny, I
Thank you,
appreciate you. Thank you very much for taking time off your schedule. And go crush it, my friend. And
Thank you. You
whenever
guys
you're
as
in,
well.
South Bay, please make sure to come by. We got a lot of agents here that, you know, you have a lot of memories with. So we'd love to see you soon.
Yeah, I've done. I want to say that I've done some referrals up to LA, and I've gotten some back. And I want to make sure that you guys know who your Southern California referral partner is down here in San Diego. There's always a lot of back and forth movement. So just wanted to point that out as well.
And Simon, if I can, just for a second, thank you so much, Danny. You've given us so many great nuggets. I know a lot of people got a lot from it. Also, I want to remind everyone that this morning at 11 a.m., Manny will be hosting his next session of Real Estate Live. The topic is going to be Chat GPT, but specifically on how you can utilize that platform for real estate, writing descriptions and getting market updates and community updates. So it's really targeted to us. So be sure to join us this morning, 11 a.m. Check your morning email or the WhatsApp group. If you don't have access to that, email me at kimjordan@kw.com.
Kim, will that be recorded?
It will be, yes, Gary.
Perfect. Thank you.
Beautiful. All right, Danny. Well, that concludes our time. Appreciate you very much. Enjoy your Friday afternoon. Enjoy your weekend, and be safe out there.
Welcome
All right,
to the
thanks,
family.
All right. Take care.
Much love. Bye bye.
Take care. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.